Hey everybody, it's Monday, November 10th, 2025. Welcome to the NFL Fantasy Football Show. We're still figuring out schedules. It's me, your man, MG, Marcas Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio and LaQuan Jones. Welcome to Monday. It's sort of a mixed emotion Monday around here. One of us is really excited. One of us is sort of salty. One of us it's just Monday. So we can go through this show and you can figure out which person is which. I don't
One
think
of us
it'll be
is
very
more
difficult.
emotionally mature than the others, is what I'm hearing.
Wait, who's that?
Again, listen to the show and you can decide for yourself as things go along. But other than that, other than the obvious, gentlemen, I hope you all had good weekends.
Excellent weekends. I mean, Florio, I don't know about you, but it's Victory Monday for me. I'm sorry about the Bills game. I'm sorry about Mike McDaniel spinning the block and going by the bar where you guys assumedly just all gather to watch the Bills game. But I got to give it to Mike McDaniel. That was pretty fly, bro. That was pretty fly. He just pulled up, wrist out the window. What's up?
When your 3-14 career against a certain quarterback and your best season ever ended with him eliminating you, I understand why a 3-7 coach. Look, he might be the next OC in Buffalo. Who knows? But I understand why he was as happy as he was.
So, wait, are we assuming that this is real? So, by the way, in case you don't know what we're talking about, there was it an Instagram post? I'm sure it's all over social media of Mike McDaniel allegedly, apparently, driving past a Bills fan bar in Miami and trolling Bills fans after the Dolphins win on Sunday. I don't know. I need to see video evidence of this other than just like the picture that I saw was Mike McDaniel in his car, arm out the window, and then in the foreground is a guy in a Bills t-shirt, right? Like, I need actual proof that he was trolling and not just that he happened to drive down the street past a guy in Bills gear. I need more than this.
I don't know if the picture is real. I don't know any of that, but I do know that bar that is in question is the one that Bills fans like flock to every year when they play in Miami. Like, it is a set Bills bar that every year is jam-packed when the Bills are there. So, like, that part checks out. Whether or not he actually was there, I don't know. But the truth of the matter is, if so, he earned it, right? Like, I'm not the kind of guy that gets salty at someone for talking when they win. You know, I'm more upset with my team and the lack of performance they gave. But Mike McDaniel, he earned that. Like, I'm a huge believer in baseball. When you hit a home run, bat flip. When you strike someone out, talk your, you know what, like, that's what sports are to me. So I never get mad when someone who wins then talks a little bit. They backed it up. You know, they earned the right.
I guess. I mean, here's the thing. Come January, like, Mike McDaniel might be updating his LinkedIn page. The Bills
might be trying to interview for a job with the Bills. Who knows?
The Bills will still be playing. Mike McDaniel will be updating his LinkedIn. I'm just saying. So, I mean, I guess enjoy the moment. But again, I need actual visual proof that this happened and not just like, hey, man, I just happened to drive down the street and, there was a dude there with Bills gear on.
I love it if he did it, though.
He will answer in the most awkward way possible. Like, I love the guy, but he'll be like, I drove my way home that day. Like
I
he's going to give you the most awkward answer.
I decided to make a left instead of a right, and it just happened to be, sure, whatever. A lot of stuff to talk about today. We got a little big deal or no deal with some performances that were maybe out of the norm, or maybe this is the new normal. We'll find out. A rookie report, of course, we'll do drops and waiver wire ads for you. But first, let's get started with some news headlines, including one that broke literally moments before we started recording this show, and that is that the Giants have decided they need a conscious uncoupling from their head coach. They have fired Brian Daboll after a 2-8 start. They had a come-from-ahead loss against the Chicago Bears on Sunday. They've had a lot of come-from-ahead losses, most notably the one to the Broncos, where they gave up, 33 points or whatever it was in the fourth quarter. Pretty ugly. In the meantime, offensive coordinator Mike Kafka has been named the interim head coach here. We were all sort of saying before the show that we were surprised that the Giants made this move right now. I mean, you're 2-8. Obviously, you're going nowhere. Why now seems like sort of the obvious question. Why not just let him ride it out, similar to what the Dolphins seem to be doing with Mike McDaniel down there in Miami? That is a question that obviously we're not going to have the answers to, and we'll wait to see what Giants front office says about it. But fantasy-wise, Florio, do you see any immediate impacts on this offense with this head coaching change?
No, because look, I mean, maybe Mike Kafka is a better OC, better play caller, but the truth of the matter is he's only been an OC in the NFL for 4 years, and it's all been under Brian Daboll, who designs the offense and is very influential in the play calling there and stuff. So to me, this is a surprising move because I'm not going to say Daboll was perfect by any stretch, but they did blow that lead yesterday after Jaxson Dart left the game. He's doing it without Malik Neighbors, without Cam Scatterboo. Like, it's a depleted offense right now. I thought because of how well Jaxson Dart has been playing and the fact that Daboll is often the one credited, even though I think it was more than just one person, with the reason that Josh Allen broke out, I thought that pairing would keep Daboll. I honestly thought he was going to get a shot to finish the year and maybe even be the coach next year. So this caught me completely by surprise. And I don't think a whole lot changes. I think the Giants offense continues to look the same. And the funny thing to me about it is his offenses are the reason they had those leads in the first place. It is the highly invested defense that has faltered and failed him. And he ain't in charge of that side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, though, it ends up falling all on the head coach, so he's the one who has to go. It's easier to fire one guy than it is to fire, 20 guys. So Brian Daboll ends up taking the fall. But to sort of add to that, and Florio kind of alluded to this, Jaxson Dart did leave the game on Sunday after suffering a concussion. It's not the first time that he has been checked out for concussion symptoms. A lot of it has to do, I think, with... wow, geez.
Bro, he was getting rocked.
Jeez, it's only week 10. It's only week 10.
His helmet
didn't start playing until week 4.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it has to do with his playing style, right? Where he sort of plays like Cam Scatterboo. Like, I get it that they, kind of came in together and they had this aura, and Scatterboo is, he's like the juggernaut in an X-Men, comic. I wouldn't recommend it for Cam Scatterboo either, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it for the guy who is trying to be your franchise quarterback. LaQuan, first thing I want to say is give us Jameis Winston, you cowards. If
yes,
Dart
please
can't go.
Louder. Because it makes no sense.
Yeah, yesterday it ended up being Russell Wilson who took over and finished the game at quarterback. So let's assume they're going to hold to that. I don't know if Mike Kafka has the stones to make the move to Jameis Winston. So assuming it's going to be Russell Wilson, again, provided Dart does not clear concussion protocol, can you start either Wan'Dale Robinson or Darius Slayton with Russ?
At least with Wan'Dale, I feel safe with, because we've seen Wan'Dale really perform at high levels with Russ at the quarterback helm. So I think, you could still feel safe there. And Wan'Dale, even with Dart, man, he's been a reliable flex option you can put in there. We're talking 12 plus fantasy points. And we've seen the highs that we can get with Wan'Dale Robinson with Russell Wilson. Now, Darius Slayton, I'm kind of standoffish with it, because in the 3 games he played with Russ, we didn't see much, input there. And obviously Malik Neighbors is going to take all that attention. But even in the Cowboys game, my boy ran 44 routes and generated less than 7% of his routes he was targeted on. That looks really, really nasty with a guy that's out there that's been a reliable, giant for them. I mean, loyal to the soil. My man had plenty of opportunities to go to other teams, but he loves to stay in New Jersey, and I respect it. The food, the bagels, man, the cheesesteaks, Philly's right there. I mean, stay in New York, but I honestly look at this as if I'm out there starting Darius Slayton, I must be depleted at the wide receiver position. But Wan'Dale Robinson, he's been pushed up as a guy I can start over multiple guys, that are on the bench. So I feel really, really good about Wan'Dale. Darius Slayton, I'm kind of let's see how it'll play out.
The weird thing about Darius Slayton is that obviously he seems like he wants to stay with the Giants, and that's cool. It just seems like the Giants keep trying to push him out the door, but they forget to lock the door, so then he just shows up again at dinner time, sort of thing. Right, and then they're like, "Oh, yeah, this guy's actually productive and can do things for us." And then they get him back on the field, and then we go through the whole cycle all over again. So yes. I don't really understand it. I don't get it. He seems to be a good player. I get it. He's not a superstar level player, but he's a good role player. You need those on your team. Why do you keep trying to send him to a new home? I don't really get it.
Free Jameis. Anyway. That's all.
Free Jameis.
If it's Russ Jameis. Next week against the Packers, I'm sitting every Giant. Like, I don't want to do that.
That's actually a conversation too. I mean, like, you fire your head coach. What is the motivation for the rest of the season for these players? Like, it is a wash already. And like, I'm surprised they didn't let him get through the bye, bro. They still have a week 14 bye. And it's like, you couldn't let him cook until then? Like, what was said? It must have been a nasty conversation.
Dart, though, there's hope, right? Like, there was a play yesterday where Russ ran that if it's Dart has 3 rushing touchdowns on the day. But Russ is slow as molasses now. So, like, it's just, to me, it's all bad. If it's Russ
I think Dart is, like, in the games he started, like, just taking into account, like, Dart has been a QB1, like, rest of the season. I think he's unaffected, but his play style is a different conversation for more longevity in those dynasty leagues.
It's not sustainable.
It's like, bro, you are reckless. And then there's so many hits that he does not need to take. And it's like, bro, take a step back. Chill out. This is the big leagues.
The ironic part about this is there was once a quarterback in Buffalo who had that issue too, and Brian Daboll coached that out of him. Like, Josh was reckless.
That man is a monster. I mean, like, he's a physical specimen. Yeah. Josh Allen is an actual unit. Jaxson Dart is like, he's like a mortal. He's like sized like a human, you know? Josh Allen is not. So
it's just ironic to me that he had to coach that out of one quarterback and doesn't get the opportunity with another.
Yeah, who knows? Speaking of quarterback news, also something that dropped just before we started recording the show. Joe Burrow is returning to practice for the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals opening the 21-day practice window, so they got 3 weeks basically to get him back on the field. You were doing the math, Florio. It says the target date's right around December 1st for Joe Burrow to come back. I will ask you the question that you rhetorically asked us before we started the show. What can Joe Burrow do? What can he add to this offense that they really haven't gotten from Joe Flacco so far this year?
I don't think anything. And that is wild to say because obviously Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Joe Flacco, especially at this stages of their career. But from the week that Joe Flacco was there up until they had a bye this week. So week 6 through 9, those 4 games that Joe Flacco has played for the Bengals, he led the NFL in passing yards per game and in passing touchdowns. And I believe the stat is, I tweeted this out last week, so maybe I'm getting the year wrong, but I think they are the first team ever to score 38 or more points in back-to-back games and go 0-2 since I believe it's the 1966 New York Giants. Like, dude, wow. You have literally players on this team calling out the defense, being like, "What more can you do?" I mean, look, I think more than anything, it's a move to kind of keep your team incentivized to kind of get, because those were 2 backbreaking losses they suffered before the bye. So to give them some incentive to keep playing, and our savior's coming and stuff. But if your defense continues to play the way it has been, not even Joe Burrow could save you, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, I guess the silver lining for folks who stashed Joe Burrow this whole time is you're going to get him back late in the season, and you're going to get him back with a defense that's going to force him to throw the ball a lot. So, yay. I don't know.
You're just going to get him more mad because the defense is not doing their job, and he's coming back from an injury from a team right now that's currently, 3-6? You want him to dig this out of the grave to paint that picture and illusion like, yeah, guys, we still got some fight in us. Like, bro, it's a dub.
Let's say they go 2 and if they have 8 losses in early December, are you really activating him, or is this more just a just in case? You know,
I think it's probably that. But I'll say, look, if he's mad, if he's angry, I mean, I don't care necessarily about his mental state. I just need the arm to function. And if you got to throw it 40 times, I know that sounds callous. Like, I get it, but like, you know, you being upset about the defense, maybe that's a positive, right? Like, I don't know.
Joe Burrow might be back before Brock Purdy.
Side note to that, we'll get to that a little bit.
Boy, I almost spewed it out.
I'm not gonna edit it out. I put it in the rundown. Like, I'm giving you an opportunity. I did think it was funny that after the game, like, Kyle Shanahan's like, "Oh no, Brock Purdy really does have a chance to play next week." I'm like, "All right, bruh.
This is like 4 weeks. I'm over this game, man.
All right, man. Like, sure. Right. I'll believe it when he's not on the inactives list. Okay, like stop stringing.
You could have put him on IR. Just saying.
Like, you serious? I was about to say that. Why wasn't he put on IR? This is kind of crazy.
So Kyle Shanahan being like, oh no, he's got a real chance to play next week. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Garrett Wilson left the game on Sunday against the Browns with a knee injury. We'll see what the long-term status of that is. But LaQuan, if for whatever reason this is going to keep Garrett Wilson out for a game or two, is there any other, I say pass catcher, but more specifically, any other wide receivers there in New York that you have any interest in right now?
Do they have wide receivers?
Literally was like, I don't even know who the other, the passing options as far as I'm concerned, it's Garrett Wilson, it's Breece Hall, and maybe a little bit of Mason Taylor like sprinkled in. Like that's all that I can think of there.
Josh Reynolds shows his face every so often. That's about it.
Cool, because I don't understand if having wide receivers even matter if your quarterback's going out there throwing for 54 yards in 4 quarters of a game. Like that, just end the conversation there. No, you can't trust anyone outside of Garrett. I don't even trust Garrett Wilson. I don't even care if he comes back in the next 2 weeks. Like, there's nothing that draws me to this Jets offense whatsoever other than Breece Hall. Like, when folks were sitting there hesitant about starting Breece Hall against the Browns, even though we know they are a very difficult defense on the ground and very stingy to the running back position, but come on, who else was going to touch that ball and create any type of positive gain in that offense? It was going to be Breece Hall. So, obviously, Viam checked out for Breece Hall to come out to be a running back 1 this week. But wide receiver wise, Mason Taylor wise, like I have no interest whatsoever even thinking about the thought of hitting them in from bench to start at any point for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's pretty bad there for the Jets. So talked about it a little bit. Obviously, the Brock Purdy situation in San Francisco. Still not playing. Maybe playing next week. Maybe we don't believe Kyle Shanahan. I don't know. Either way, we had a little friendly wager. So on Wednesday's show, I will be wearing a Rams jersey, true to my word there. So go pick one. I mean, go.
I want to pick the smallest jersey that we have that is a Rams jersey.
Like,
nope. I was about to say Mason has a Puka jersey.
Fits, right? Like that's just obscene. Like you're gonna get us banned from the internet. Is what you're gonna do.
You're gonna be out there looking like Zeke prime.
Right, exactly. Except my abs don't look anything like that. Anyway, the Rams went out and took care of business. They got a win over the 49ers. Are you threatening corporal punishment? What are you doing? So I'm sure
belt
you have
to butt, sir.
I'm sure
that's
you
what
happened. I'm sure you have a prepared statement.
Belt
so
boys.
I'm opening the floor for you to do whatever it is you're going to do in the next several minutes.
Belt boys, my boy. Listen, I would say this. You guys, the fans of the 49ers, you guys are in my TikTok DMs. You guys are cowards. Oh, our defense is all broken. We have no Fred Warner. What if you won then? You'd be like, well, you lost to a backup team because that's what happened earlier in the season, right?
That's how that works.
Listen, I'm not satisfied with this win. I want to turn the knife even more. I want you guys to lose every single game after this. I don't care if Brock Purdy comes back to here because the most craziest thing I've seen on the internet from your fan base is that you guys take an L like you did, like I said, belt that. And I would say this. You guys immediately started talking playoffs. How? If we dealt with you guys this way, how are you going to win another game if injuries just keep on piling up each and every week? Like, I just don't get it. Marcus, do you have the answer for that? What is the thinking of the 49ers fans
Have you seen their... No, literally, because I thought this line... I'm not...
Their next 4 games, oh my God.
I'm not trying to be smart. It's like, have you seen their schedule? Like, literally, have you seen their schedule? It's at Arizona, they have Carolina, they have the Browns, they have the Titans. Like... They can squeak in and be the 7 seed. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to be smart about this. Like, legitimately, even that team with those injuries and those players missing, they can win enough games to slide in and be a wild card team. So, like, yeah, I don't think they go very far. Like, I think they lose in wild card weekend, but yeah, they have enough to still be a playoff team just based on the fact that this, even week 18, like they're going to play a Seattle team that may not have anything to play for depending on what happens with the Seahawks. Like, there is a path for them to get into the playoffs, for sure.
I'm rooting for 49ers Rams take 3 in the playoffs. That would be
I'm not
so
sure that they
fun.
get that, because I think it's going to be... I don't know. I'm sitting here. I'm trying to do the math right now, right? Because the Rams could get a bye depending on what happens. So like, there's a chance that the Niners.
You guys are the bye. Line it up. First round. You guys are the bye. Like wow. I don't understand. Like you guys are literally painting this picture, and you're doing it too, man. You suffer from the same 40-winer sickness. Yes, the schedule looks very promising, but I can say this: the Cardinals could sneak out a win. I can tell you this: the Panthers defense can stop you guys. The Browns can hold you guys down to basically low scoring points. Like these are all possibilities. This ain't no cakewalk to get to your bye week. You're going to be going into that bye week probably limping. You guys average at least 2 injuries per week. Like it doesn't make sense. Where is Brandon Ayuk? Is Ricky Pearsall even alive? Can we do a wellness check? Because at the same time, you guys hold these pieces that are coming back. It doesn't matter if they come back. It doesn't matter if Brock Purdy comes back. You guys are not going to the playoffs. You guys are not going to the Super Bowl. We're going to win the Super Bowl in your house. And that's going to be the death of all the 41ers fans even speaking anything into existence of anything positive for that organization. I'm done.
That's all you got? I really expected more from you. I really did. I thought because like this was Shark Week and Christmas and your birthday like all rolled into one, and like that's all you got. Like oh yeah, you're beat up bad team. I didn't
bring up the conversation that Matthew Stafford.
You were absolutely like my mentions.
I didn't bring this one up yet though. Florio, okay. I have a lot of smoke with you right now, brother.
With me? Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, bring it, because I know what you're going to say, and I will push back that he is still not the favorite.
Are you kidding me? How is Matthew Stafford not top 5 or even the MVP top leading candidate right now?
He's
That's
number
the
2
two
right
arguments
now.
I have.
He's
no,
number
I don't
2 right
care
now.
what the internet says. I don't
yes,
care.
You do. You care about what the
fantasy
Twitter streets have all the time.
I'm just going to point this out too, though. Me and LQ had a great conversation off air the other day about how Rams Seahawks is going to probably decide Stafford's MVP fate. Yes. But the next 6 weeks for the Rams, you get the Seahawks, the Bucks, the Panthers, the Cardinals, the Lions, and the Seahawks. If Matthew Stafford wins the MVP, he's going to beat the Bucks, beat the Lions, and go at least 1 against the Seahawks. So it's all out there for him to do. But right now, he's number 2 in as terms as the favorites go.
And that is crazy talk. How are we talking about a man since week 4 has 20 touchdowns, 0 interceptions? It's insane that this man is doing what he's doing at 37 years old.
How is it that the leading rusher in the NFL who has more touchdowns than anybody else isn't even in the conversation? Like, why don't we have...
He should be the MVP, in my opinion.
We need... I'm telling you...
Offensive player of the year,
I'm going to start this conversation. Like, it needs to start here. We need... I don't know what we're going to call it, but we need the football equivalent of the Cy Young Award. We just need the Quarterback of the Year award, so that way the MVP voting is actually open to everybody, right? Offensive players, defensive players alike. Like, it needs to be the most valuable player. We got to stop this whole it's the best quarterback award. Like, that's trash. Yeah. So let's come up with... We can call it whatever we want. You want to call it the Tom Brady Award? Whatever. Call it the Tom Brady Award. But like, just get something where we get the... Yeah, that's fine. I don't need to call it that. I'm just throwing out names, right? But something where we can just already say, okay, this quarterback was the best quarterback of the year, and congratulations on whoever it is. And now let's have a real conversation about which player actually meant the most to their team. Because right now, it's silly. The fact that we've gone, 15 years since the last time a non-quarterback has won it. Probably even more than that. I got to go look again. But so then we can stop having these silly arguments that change from week to week too. That's the other part of this. It's like from week to week. It's dumb.
I'll just point out the Rams have played one tough defense and Stafford threw for less than 200 yards.
Here we go, bro. Don't do that.
Before LaQuan completely crashes out, let's take a break so everybody can go back to their neutral corners. We'll take a deep breath. We'll get a drink of water, and we'll do some big deal or no deal. Okay. Everybody has cooled off a little bit. We've done our woo-saws. We had a drink of water, and we're ready to continue the show. Do a little big deal or no deal. Some of the things that popped up on my radar from Sunday, and whether or not these are things that we should actually be paying attention to, or if it's just like a one-off and, don't really stress yourself about it. So, Florio Davis-Mills playing for the injured C.J. Stroud, nearly 300 passing yards, a pair of touchdowns, even a rushing touchdown, had 27.6 fantasy points. Is this a big deal or no deal down in Houston?
It depends on who you ask, because I've had some Texans fans in my mentions being like, it was the Jaguars, who cares? And I will point out that earlier this year, against this same Jaguars defense, the Texans lost. They scored 10 points. CJ Stroud threw for 204, 1, and 2 interceptions in that game. But what I think matters even more is Nico Collins had a season high in targets, yards, and fantasy points. Davis Mills comes in, and he's like Joe Flacco with Jamar Chase, right? He's like, Nico's somewhere. I'm just going to put it where he's supposed to be. And it's worked. And then Dalton Schultz also had a season high in targets, and he had his second best fantasy game of the year as well. So I don't think it matters in the sense of if CJ Stroud is healthy enough to play this week. I think he does play. But the theme of this season has been soft benchings, right? And I'm sitting here like, you got any more of those soft benchings in Houston? Because all I care about is, as a non-Texans fan, is what's best for fantasy. And maybe it was just 1 week and Davis Mills goes back to being Davis Mills. But when is CJ Stroud going to go back to being CJ Stroud? Because this is now 2 years in a row that this is the guy and the product that we are getting. So while it might not be a big deal in the grand scheme of things for Houston, I do think it is a big deal in the sense of if Stroud keeps playing bad, people are going to start to be like questioning him and this offense moving forward.
The further we go into CJ Stroud's career, it is looking more and more like that rookie season was the outlier, and that this version of CJ Stroud is closer to what the real thing is going to be. Obviously still time for things to turn around, but the clock's ticking on Stroud getting things going.
He might be on the middle meter next year. just a little spoiler alert.
We're not putting Trevor Lawrence back on the middle meter. Like you threw him away last week. Is he still off? He's
in one of these trash bags around here. He's gone. He's toast. Well, adios. Yeah, he's been retired. I mean, honestly, I have it updated. Like, I'll ignore the TreVeyon Henderson side. I mean, like T-Floor.
You've actually put a whole lot of more labels on here now.
It's gone. It's RIP. Like, we just kind of want to erase this side. Yeah, that's all he's given us is the floor.
Wow.
Like, fun fact that I saw while writing up Trevor Lawrence today, he's broke 20 fantasy points twice all year. Both were games that he ran for 2 touchdowns. Like,
ooh,
you can't do it without
the wide
that.
receiver suffered.
Yeah, it's nasty work.
It's not a team player.
Daniel Jones. I'm trying to avoid rabbit holes. Like, let's just keep the show moving. That's my job here. I'm the ringmaster, man. I just got to keep this thing moving. Daniel Jones, LaQuan, you have been the Daniel Jones champion all year long.
Yes.
And look, to your credit, because you said that in the preseason and we kind of snickered. You're like, and then you got the last laugh for the first 6-8 weeks or whatever. But yesterday, 15.5 points, second straight game with fewer than 16 points. And I know a lot of people, especially Giants fans, are, they're doing the Leonardo DiCaprio point at the TV thing now. Is this a big deal or no deal that he's kind of slumping at the moment?
I would say it's a deal, like kind of in the middle, big, not really, because when you look at Daniel Jones and what we saw, even in the game that he didn't give us those high QB1 fantasy points, he was still doing great things, getting out of the pocket, avoiding the stupid turnovers, even though he has 7 in the last 2 games. I do think there could have been racked up times where we could see Daniel Jones turn back into that Giants quarterback where the interceptions, the fumbles, they all just keep racking up in the same game. So I think they go into this bye, they hit the reset button. Like, rest of the season, I'm still looking at Daniel Jones as a QB1, but I'm going to be more cautious about the matchups that I put him in because now we're seeing him deal with pressure, right? I think it cracked off in that Rams game where you see him dealing with pressure. The Denver game, they're one of the best and one of the most vicious QB pressure rates of defenses, but he was able to come out with a win. But then you look at these last 2 games, the Titans even gave him a little trouble with pressure. So I'm looking at how, when we're looking at Daniel Jones in terms of how do we get him into our starting lineup, all you have to do is look at your QB2. If he don't have the rushing upside, if he doesn't have the Jonathan Taylor type of caliber of a running back, there's no way that I'm going to be trying to force him into a matchup to where he's going to have that QB pressure running down his neck.
All right. I mean, I think the other part of Daniel Jones, for fantasy at least, is if you drafted Daniel Jones, you drafted another quarterback. No one drafted Daniel Jones to be like, yep, you're my guy. I'm going to start you every single week. Don't worry about it. So yeah, it hasn't been great the last couple of weeks, but also if you're really, really worried about it, you probably have another option on your bench that you can sort of turn to. So there's the silver lining on that. Florio, you and I were on the Jameson Williams train all off season. It hasn't really happened until it suddenly did. Sunday, 6 catches, 119 yards, and a touchdown, almost 24 fantasy points. I mean, you can do the whole they're playing the Commanders and the Commanders are bad. Yeah, sure, but he still had a nice game. First 20-point game this year. So is that a big deal or no deal, Florio?
No, it is a big deal because if you go back to the week prior, he had 6 targets in that game as well. And that might not sound like a whole lot, but at that time it was his 3rd most. And watching that game 2 weeks ago, in my opinion, at least, the Lions offense started clicking in the second half when they started involving Jameson Williams more. And that was right after Dan Campbell was pretty vocal on saying we need to get him. He didn't say him by name, but everyone knew who he was talking about when he said they need to get their downfield presence more involved. Then we learned yesterday, which shout out to Mike Garafolo with the awesome reporting that has now become a huge story in the NFL. Dan Campbell is calling the plays again. Like there was a clear disconnect with John Morton there. And it's no coincidence, in my opinion, that Dan Campbell being in charge of the play calling has led to more involvement for Jameson Williams. It's not like Jameson Williams stopped being Jameson Williams. You just look at his game log, and there's legit games where he had 3 targets, 2 targets, 1 target. It's hard to be productive when you're not getting the opportunity to produce. So I think it's arrows up right now for Jameson Williams. I have him in a number of leagues, and I'm back to like, there was a point this year where I just started sitting him. I'm back the last couple of weeks to starting him. Granted, it was 2 favorable matchups, but I just think with the change of play caller, there is something tangible that we could point to and be like, that is what changed, and that is what's led to the success for Jameson Williams. It's not like it's just a random deep catch, because we've seen that from him already.
I think it's funny that Dan Campbell takes over the play calling and the offense sort of springs to life, just because you got the sense in the preseason when everybody kept asking over and over again, like, how does this offense cope with losing Ben Johnson? And by the end of training camp in the preseason, you could see that Dan Campbell was getting kind of annoyed by having to answer that the whole time. Like, hey guys, I'm still here. We still have a lot of great coaches here. And now Dan Campbell, after the offense was kind of meh, takes over the play calling, and they look kind of like the Lions again. So, it is what it is, right? Last one here. Jalen Nailor, LaQuan, 5 catches, $124 and a touchdown, 23.4 fantasy points. I went and did the math. Between weeks 4 and 9 combined, he had 24.7 points. He had a couple of zeros in there too along the way. So Jalen Nailor breaking out with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback, big deal or no deal?
No deal. I mean, I do like the numbers. I do like what he's performing with J.J. McCarthy, 19.9 yards per reception. So he is getting utilized deep downfield just as much as a Justin Jefferson. So I look at Jalen Nailor as a guy, if you're in those deeper leagues, the 14, 16 leagues, you guys are crazy, by the way, more wounded teams, then that's when you start looking at guys that have this buster boom strapped him, because there's some games in there in these last couple games with JJ, he has 1 catch, and there's like not enough volume that's going to be strapped to him that I can trust in roster. So I'm looking at this, side-eyeing it like, yeah, I ain't that down bad to even try to entertain that. Like, it's cool. That's great what's happening over there, but I don't see the need of absolute right now thinking that this is going to blossom to anywhere near like how we can compare to a Wan'Dale Robinson as a flex appeal. You know what I mean? So like, that's the bar.
Not to take away from him, but one of those catches too, he broke a couple of tackles and had a long run after the catch too, which sort of factored into that, which is hard to count on a regular basis. It did just kind of feel like one of those one-off games that was sort of nice. Although it's funny because before I started putting together the list of sleepers sort of early, just kind of based on matchups. And then I was like, hey, what about Jalen Nailor? Like next week, could he maybe have something? And then all of a sudden he does all of this. And I'm like, well, now it's going to feel like, now people are going to be like, well, you're just following the trends. So I'm not, now I can't use him. I was like, no, like really, I put the name down and then he had the big
He's
game.
Averaging nearly 50 yards per game with JJ right now, but it's still the small sample of looking at what they have a body of work together. And do we honestly trust JJ? I mean, you see
Not yet.
Play?
Not yet.
The other thing is Jefferson had 12 targets, Addison had 11. You know, like he couldn't get the ball to them, but he's trying. Like
he missed a lot of throws to both of those guys on Sunday.
9?
So.
That's his nickname, his alter ego, 9?
Yeah,
the one interception, Jefferson didn't even try. Like he looked fed up.
Bro, he just was walking towards that tackle on that interception.
There were a few times, I went back and watched it last night, a few times he looked very fed up, just kind of like sitting on the ground.
His F-it ball that Justin Jefferson is down there somewhere is not.
It's not really hitting.
Yeah, no.
It's not hitting.
Try it again.
All right. Quick rookie report before we hit a break here. And for rookies who had notable games on Sunday, Florio, I want to start with you because it finally happened. Your dude finally did it. TreVeyon Henderson, 147 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 1 catch for 3 yards. Okay. But 28 fantasy points. All it took, Florio, was for pretty much the entirety of the Patriots backfield to get Thanos. But does this mean Mike Vrabel now believes in his rookie running back?
I can't say that it does, but it should because Ramondre Stevenson has no explosiveness. And the other thing is, like, what have we been saying, and I've been saying all year, is like, give him the ball on outside zone runs. Every Patriot running back has struggled running up the middle until yesterday. Not only did TreVeyon Henderson go off, 147 rush yards is the most anyone has had against the Bucs this season. He is the only running back to average over 10 yards per carry on inside and outside carries in the same game this season. And his top speed yesterday, only Jonathan Taylor and Jahmyr Gibbs have reached a higher top speed. His average speed on the season, only Achane and Walker are higher. Like, the guy is every bit that we have advertised as the home run hitter. And to me, what I kept saying was, like, once he hits these home runs, I don't think you could put the genie back in the bottle. So they do have a short week this week, which I think works in his favor. I'm playing him everywhere I have him against the Jets. But even like, if you are the Patriots, you have been getting by with explosive plays in the passing game. Wouldn't you want your offense to be even more dynamic and have that explosive ability out of the backfield now?
Nah.
I feel so vindicated because, like, it took way longer than I thought, but this is everything that I explained and thought he could be here. And even more so, it's like, Vrabel, imagine what he could have been a few weeks ago if you gave him more chances early on. Like, I was watching this game like Ron Swanson when he's drunk in that episode, just dancing with the hat on his head. Like, this was the happiest I'm going to be all season long. I've accepted that. But yeah, like maybe it's a one-off. I don't know, but it shouldn't be because he is living up to every bit as advertised and every bit that made you take him in the second round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see whether or not this actually sticks. You would think so. You would hope that at least gives him more opportunity, even when Ramondre Stevenson is back, or if Mike Vrabel decides just to be stubborn and put him back on the bench. We'll see. No. LaQuan Gabriel, 167 passing yards, a couple of passing touchdowns, also 54 rushing yards, just a shade over 20 points. Does this mean maybe Dylan Gabriel's figuring it out, or is it just the Jets defense is bad because they traded their good players?
I mean, for the defense to be bad, Dylan Gabriel still looked it to be mid and still 1-6 as a starter. Like, what are we doing here? Right? Like, there's been an experiment. We've seen how it's playing out. I mean, we look at the games that he's playing, they're losing by a ton, or they keep it close, or he's not even the reason why they win. Like, you go back to their one win, you look in that game, Quinshon Judkins had 3 touchdowns. My guy had less than 140 yards, less than 200 yards in most of his games. Like, we're looking at a player that's not excelling. He's not lifting or elevating this Browns offense to anything next. I think it's time. It's Shador time. Like, is it time to put him in? Like, let him finish the back end of the season.
He did finish, right? He got to finish the game yesterday, if I'm not. No, I guess he did not. I thought maybe he was coming in.
It's time.
I saw people posting that it was Shador time, so I thought that meant he actually was in the game. But no, I think they were just wishing for it.
Don't wish, work for it.
Honestly, it'll be entertaining, right? People will watch Browns games for a change.
I guess.
Free Kevin Stefanski, man. He trying to do the worst job he can to get out.
I mean, maybe, but also, like, at some point, I mean,
like, I don't care.
If everything bad is happening, right? If all this bad is happening and all this offense is terrible and Shador still can't work his way in. Like, I don't know, man. At some point, you got to look around the table and figure out, who the problem is.
Players like Harold Fannin Jr. are starting to decline, right? Like, he's starting to decline in his production. Like, there needs to be a change. Like, there's obviously a night and day situation, even though Joe Flacco was bad in himself in Cleveland, but we see what Joe Flacco can do. Like, we see him elevate the Bengals back to somewhat conversation of having a T. Higgins and Jamar Chase in starting lineups that we could trust. But with Dylan Gabriel, it's like, what are we getting here? Like, what are we doing? We're not gaining anything. We're just watching a young man go out there. And again, I don't want to poo-poo on his parade. I don't want to yuck his yum. But at the same time, it's like, hey, we got fantasy rosters out here. I still have Harold Fannin Jr. starters in most of my tight end positions in these leagues. So I need production to be elevated. And I think Shedeur should get a shot at doing that.
I guess.
Jonah Hill already quit on them.
I just look at it as any Browns that I have were sort of a luxury that I can go back to something else.
Jerry Jeudy is still rostered. I don't know how, but
he caught a touchdown yesterday. Actually, maybe his best game of the season yesterday. So I don't know.
And that was all she wrote.
I don't mean to keep asking you about the Houston Texans, Florio, but I'm going to ask you about the Houston Texans again. Woody Marks, 63 rushing yards, a touchdown, 2 catches for 18 yards, 16 points. I mean, it's not spectacular, but it's not terrible for a guy that you grabbed off the waiver wire and you're using as a fill-in. Is it time? It's time with Nick Chubb, right? It's been wonderful. We wish him the best, but it's just time. It's got to be.
I think it's time where we could stop trusting him in fantasy. Like yesterday, he played 15% of the snaps. He had 5 carries and 1 target. You cannot trust someone with that little volume. But the thing that's been super frustrating about this backfield is we've had many different opportunities this year where it looks like Woody Marks is fully taken over. And then the next week, it's back to 50-50, Nick Chubb involved. Like, you cannot trust Nick Chubb enough, but his involvement makes it where it makes it tougher to trust Woody Marks as anything more than a flex option. Because like I tweeted out this usage yesterday and I was like, it's looking like Marks is taking over. And all the comments are like, but next week will be a Chubb week because everyone is sick and tired of chasing their tail with this backfield. I do have Woody Marks on a couple of teams. I'm interested in him moving forward, but I want to see it. I'm still at a point where I can't elevate him to anything more than a flex because of how frustrating this backfield has been utilized week to week.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's just, I just want them to just finally say, hey, look, Woody Marks, this is your gig now. And like, hey, Nick Chubb will come in every once in a while just to give you a breather, but this is your backfield. But it doesn't seem like they want to do that. I don't know.
God, is that Joe Mixon's music?
No,
like that's
not.
literally what's going to happen.
It's really not. it's not going to be Joe Mixon's music.
How funny would that be if that happened?
At least for the rest of this year.
You know the gif where the wrestler pulls the blanket over his broken leg and he's fine?
Yes.
It's going to be Joe Mixon, except for that leg is fully wrapped in a cast.
Yeah, exactly. He's not fine. Like he's really, the fact that they don't even utter his name down there in Houston tells you, I think, everything you pretty much need to know. So LaQuan, would you like to apologize to Tyler Shough? Were you not really familiar with his game? 282 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. I know you said you wanted to see more from him. Did you see what you wanted from Tyler Shough?
I would like to take this moment to apologize to absolutely nobody because one, I had to take back my words. I went back and watched the film. Those 2 touchdowns were blown coverages. The defenders fell on both of them. So no, I will not be apologizing to Tyler Shough. I need to see more. I'm going to stick to my grounds because at the end of the day, I appreciate the quarterback when he helps my fantasy roster, okay? I'm going to be so selfish in this because I have a lot of Juwan Johnson. To see that his first 2 completions, his first 2 attempts were to Juwan Johnson, it's encouraging, but I need to see more. The touchdowns, I'm taking out of the equation because that's everything that the fantasy streets were championing him on. If you look at both touchdowns, both defenders fall down and trip over their feet. That is what we like to call a Quentin Johnson blown coverage. I am not going to champion Tyler Shough on that. I will appreciate him escaping the pocket at times and keeping his eyes downfield and finding somebody like a Juwan Johnson. As long as he stays on track and on pace to get the ball to the players that I have on my roster and everybody else as well, and Chris Olave as well. I could take him out of the satchel discontent.
I was going to say,
he can come out. He's fine. And the door's locked behind him. He can't get back in. Chris Olave has officially been removed from the satchel of discontent. But I will say this, there still needs to be more proven from Tyler Shough. Like, I'm not looking at these stats and saying, like, Yeah, that's the game. He completed over 70% of his passes. Well, Spencer Rattler did that 4 times in his time when he started. So that's nothing like that's like eye-popping. So I need to see more ultimately.
I'll just point out, he had 50 more yards than Spencer Rattler's high on the season.
Oh, here we go. It's because of the 2 blown coverage touchdowns, bro.
But that's more of a negative on Spencer Rattler.
If he missed them, right? If he overthrew him, then you would hammer him for that.
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely correct.
So, I don't know. Give him his flowers. He made the throws when he had to make the throws.
Not yet.
Okay. He gets the Falcons next week, so that'll be interesting because Atlanta's defense at times is good and at times not. So we will see. I mean, that's all I got for you on that. Time to visit the Drop Zone, which is an underrated Wesley Snipes action movie from the 90s. Go check it out if you are so inclined. Yeah. Back when Wesley Snipes was doing the damn thing as like a legit action movie star back in the 90s.
Simon Says. What movie is that?
That's from Demolition Man.
Yes.
Which side note to that is it was his character in Demolition Man that initially persuaded Dennis Rodman to dye his hair blonde, and then Rodman decided
to. All of this is why I am shocked that there's so many horror movies that you've never like.
Yeah, I just never got
so much about cinema.
I've just never gotten into horror movies. It's just like I don't know. I just never did. It was just never a thing for me. I never loved Halloween. I think maybe because as a kid, like, I don't know, I had a bad, scary experience. And so I just never got into horror movies. I don't know. It's a blind spot. I will admit it is a blind spot for me. So, yeah, I don't know.
It took me like 7 years of doing this pod with you to find that blind spot, but I'm happy I'm not the only one who hasn't seen every movie.
So there it is. Anyway, Drop Zone, guys that we are putting back into the waiver wire pool. Who are you saying goodbye to, LaQuan?
Unfortunately, Jordan Mason. I just can't hold on any longer. It looks like Aaron Jones is back. I mean, obviously, him coming back with 50% of the snaps these last 3 games, it's kind of looking like Jordan Mason is now back to being the backup plan. But like even when Jordan Mason had his opportunities, he just wasn't returning like RB1 like I thought he could have that ceiling. So I understand if folks are going to drop him. I understand if folks want to give him one last chance against the Bears. I'm looking at it as like, look, man, I got to move on. There's some guys that are starting to pop up off the waiver wire. The trade deadline is coming in a lot of leagues. It's this week, next week for a lot of folks. Like, folks are starting to build their championship rosters. And right now, I don't see Jordan Mason being usable as long as Aaron Jones is playing at this level.
Yeah, I mean, Jones looked good. He looked really good yesterday against the Ravens. Side note to that, because I did go back and watch that game. I'm not ready to make a full-on declaration about Derrick Henry, but it looks like the cliff is coming. It looks like it's coming. He doesn't, he has those moments when he still does have that burst. And there was a play where he did the classic Derrick Henry stiff arm someone into the shadow realm. But those are becoming fewer and farther between, obviously he still has it in him. He's had a couple of really big games where he's gone for about a $120. But it just, he's always been a guy that when he gets up ahead of steam, you don't want to tackle him, but it seems like it's taking him longer to get to that top speed, to get to that spot. So, I will obviously see how this season plays out with him, but I'm starting to think we are seeing the end of Derrick Henry as like a bona fide fantasy stud running back. I think it's just coming. So anyway, you're not dropping him. I'm not suggesting that you should drop Derrick Henry. That's not why I mentioned it. You mentioned that game. I was talking about the thing I saw.
Spinning
also
into next
in
year,
that game.
I'm not drafting Derrick Henry at all.
Yeah, we'll see what his ADP is, but certainly if we're talking like a first round or even early second round, I don't know that I'm in on Derrick Henry just yet.
Seems like an Alvin Kamara pick for next year.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that bad. I don't think it'll have that quite a fall off, but it's coming. It is coming for sure. Florio, who are you saying goodbye to?
It pains me to say it, but Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Outside of I have a couple of real deep leagues where I'm not going to drop him. But besides that, if you're in a 10-team or a regular 12-team league, he gets the Dolphins next week, right? And the reason I wrote his name down was because the Dolphins on paper are a fantastic matchup for running backs. And I was like, I can't even consider including him as a start in start sit. So if I can't play him in what is maybe the best or one of the best matchups for a running back, then I don't think he is rosterable. And the frustrating part is it comes down to usage. He's got to play better as well at times, but he has looked the part at times this year. It's been very up or down, but in the passing game, that's going to be more Jeremy McNichols. Now he's got to worry about Chris Rodriguez in the run game, especially near the goal line. His quarterback, regardless of which one it is always a threat to vulture touchdowns at the goal line away. So it's all floor, and that floor is lower and lower. In his last 5 games, you could add it all up. It's not even as big as that one game he had in week 4 or 5 it was. So yeah, I think it's time with Bill, unfortunately. If he didn't have that cool nickname, he would have been dropped 3 weeks ago.
We got to stop giving players cool nicknames before they actually do anything. That's why the middle meter was created.
I think he came into the league with this nickname. It didn't just
yeah, no. We kind of blew it up. That's on us.
I think the other thing that, again, this is hindsight, right? But we do spend a lot of time talking about draft capital and how much that impacts running backs especially. I think we all sort of glossed over the fact that he was a 7th round pick, right? And guys there's a reason. Obviously teams miss all the time, but generally speaking, especially with running backs, teams tend to sort of follow that, right? And a guy who lasted as long as he did in the draft and was always sort of intended to be a last resort. Let's remember, they started this year with Austin Eckler. They traded Brian Robinson just before the season started, but they came into training camp with Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson as their 2 running backs. It sort of worked out because of circumstances that JCM got this opportunity. So I don't know, maybe we got a little too hyped.
If Eckler was still healthy, I don't know if we will be even at week 10 even mentioning JCM.
Probably not.
He would just be part of the function of that backfield behind Eckler.
He would be the hey, keep an eye on him just in case Eckler gets hurt. That would be the conversation.
You know what? Brian Robinson, he was the first running back to score a rushing touchdown against my Rams defense. Congrats.
Oh, all right.
Awesome.
He ran, I don't know which defender that was, but he did run that dude over.
Yeah,
he's actually been playing well the last few weeks. And
he hurt that boy.
Yeah,
and we love that boy, but don't let that happen again.
You're going to be seeing that run tomorrow on any runs LQ.
He's getting more and more opportunity. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey dominates, but Brian Robinson's been playing well the last few weeks. The few chances he gets, he's trying to make the most of them. So, can't fault him for that. My drop and earmuffs on this one, Florio. It's Justin Fields at this point. We are through a good chunk of the buys. Maybe your quarterback still has a buy to come over the next few weeks, but for a lot of you, your quarterback has already had their buy. And chances are, if it's a guy that you trust, if it's one of the upper level guys, that's the guy you're going to start. Justin Fields, you drafted or you added because you needed support, because you just wanted another option. But it's also the point that his front office, his ownership group doesn't trust him, doesn't seem to like him. And now you've got a head coach that is playing mind games. Look, maybe what he's telling the guys in the quarterback room is different than what he's telling the general public. But if Aaron Glenn's going to play these mind games every week of, I'm not telling you who I'm starting, you guys don't need to know that information. If we are sitting here waiting until Sunday morning to figure out if Justin Fields is playing, what we're getting from Justin Fields on a week-to-week basis is not worth the mental gymnastics that Aaron Glenn is putting us through about his starting quarterback situation. I just don't want the headache. I don't want the hassle for a guy who maybe gets me 20 points, but also maybe gets me 4. I just can't do that every week. And so for all the upside that's there, and look, I wish Fields the best as a quarterback in the NFL, though I think his journey as a starter is pretty much coming to an end. I just can't with him anymore on my fantasy rosters. It's just time.
I get it
at this point.
But if Aaron Glenn plays the quarterback game this week, can we all just ignore it? Because Fields has won 2 in a row. You're not getting away from him on a short week. We all know it. Don't do it again.
That is true.
That is true.
Division game too.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes.
Stop the cap.
Those are the guys we are saying goodbye to. Of course, waiver wire as we head into week 11. These go to 11. Who are we potentially adding off the waiver wire this week, Florio?
I think if you need it, it's awful that it's in a week where there's only 2 buys, but there's a lot of good streaming options. Like Joe Flacco just needs to be picked up. Jacoby Brissett, I'd argue the same, over 19 fantasy points in all 4 of his starts. It doesn't always look pretty. Sometimes it looks hideous, but it is always effective.
It was awful at the start yesterday.
It was bad.
Aaron Rodgers, because he has the Bengals this week. JJ McCarthy gets the Bears. Tua gets the Commanders. I know we're wasting all the good matchups on these guys, but you need a streaming quarterback. They're the ones that get the matchups. And then Brock Purdy, maybe he comes back. Who knows? But if he's out there, I think he should be picked up. Running back wise, Trey Benson, he could be activated at any point. Tyler Algier, because it's maddening to me that how much usage he gets, especially in the red zone, but it's working. Sean Tucker, there's no timeline on Bucky Irving, they're saying. Tucker was more utilized this past week, and he gets the Bills. And then a couple of handcuffs for you guys. Brian Robinson Jr., just in case. Blake Corum, just in case. And then some wide receivers. Alec Pierce, I think, absolutely needs to be picked up right now. The floor is so much safer than it's ever been, and the upside remains very high. Troy Franklin, I think, is the wide receiver 1 for the Broncos, at least usage-wise. Tez Johnson, look, Chris Godwin might not be back for another month at this point, and Tez is getting the job done. Parker Washington continues to be utilized in the slot there. I like Darius Slayton more before we know what's going on with the Giants right now. And then some stashes and Brandon Ayuk, Jalen McMillan, and Luther Burden, and Matt Collins if you're into that thing as well. He's been playing better as of late. And then lastly, some tight ends. Cade Otton has been highly, highly utilized. Dawson Knox could be the Bills' tight end 1 for the foreseeable future with Kincaid dealing with a hamstring. Theo Johnson has been utilized more. Dalton Schultz, Juwan Johnson. Like, there's actually tight ends out there that you could pick up and plug into your starting lineup.
So I have Brandon Ayuk stashed on IR in a few leagues. He's like Brandon Ayuk at this point. He's like the towels in the guest bathroom, right? Like, they're there and you can look at them, but you can't use them. Like, I don't know why. I really don't know why I've held on to him. I think it's just because at this point I'm pot committed. Like, it's been this long and I've just left him in my IR spot. So it's like, well, now I just got to wait it out, right? Like, I've waited this long. Why would I cut him now? But I don't know. He's just there.
Let it go.
He's really just there. I probably should, but again, like I've waited so long now, right? Like I can't just drop him and then he comes back and then I'm gonna be like, then I look like an idiot.
Remember when week 6 was the targeted date in August?
Yeah.
And that sounded
Remember
great.
he was running routes? Yeah.
I could get buyed through week 6. There's no buys until week 4 or 5. Like, this would be easy.
That was 100% my thought process.
I'm never trusting Kyle Shanahan.
That was 100% my thought process with that. And so
same. I have him on a lot of teams, unfortunately.
So many. I mean, it's good that I have the IR spot, right? I mean, if I had to actually use a roster spot for him, I would have cut him a while ago. But because I have the IR spot, I can justify all right, well, I'm not burning a spot for him. It's fine. But yeah, man, he's just sitting there, just hanging on the rack in the guest bathroom, just can't use it. It's just right there, just to look at. That's all it is. All right. There you go. That's enough of that. That's enough of us. That'll do it for this edition of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Stay happy, safe, and healthy. Do good and live well. Enjoy the week, everybody. We'll talk to you again on Wednesday.